Hi, I'm so sorry. My internet gave out.
Uh-oh.
We're back. Hi, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great.
We're off to a really good start.
Did your internet really just go out?
My internet it just shut me down. I was sitting here talking to you, and I just see you kind of like shaking your head.
Fantastic.
We're good. We're here. Hi, welcome to our first fun time chat for the Miss Mina Kickstarter. We have a special guest here today. I think you've got some mean things to say before we bring him on.
No, nothing mean. So today we have Pat Shand, writer, creator, and crowdfunding expert. So very lucky to have Pat coming on. He's created or co-created the comic books Destiny and Why, Snap Flash Hustle, Breathless, Little Girl, Family Pets, Prison Witch, Afterglow, and a lot more. He's extensively written for all kinds of other publishers as well, including properties such as Charmed, Adventure Time, Disney Villains, Casper, Zorro, Van Helsing, Mercy Sparks, and Angel. Pat's worked for just about every publisher on the planet at this point, and currently runs the independent publisher Space Between Entertainment. So we're going to talk a little bit about his current projects, just his take on the comic book industry and Kickstarter industry in general, and kind of kick back and have a good time. Hopefully this will be fun for everybody. I know it's going to be for me. I'm excited to talk to Pat. Hi, Pat.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe you didn't mention the realization from the last stream that he also has written novels. That blew your mind.
Yeah, I don't know how you can write that much. I don't know how you can do all the things that Pat does. It's still the man's I don't know how you sleep, Pat.
I mean, I try to, you know.
So we're kind of gonna promote. You've got a couple of Kickstarters live right now, campaigns live right now. I've got mine going right now, and so I want to talk about those in a little bit. But I thought we'd start out by just kind of talking about craft and just sort of what gets you up in the morning, Pat. So as I mentioned, you've worked with several publishers, and now for your own print as well for quite some time. Is there, and I'm curious to know, is there a strategy behind that approach? Like, are you, do you purposefully work with a lot of different people or a lot of different projects? And do you have a plan for like moving more and more of your stuff into your own imprint, or what is what's the goal or the plans behind that in terms of like managing your career?
I mean, for the first, I'd say 10 or so years of my career, it was pretty much just scattershot. You know, I feel like my philosophy going in was that I always see people talking about struggling, to make money in this industry. So I took whatever gig I was offered. There were the only ones that I really turned down were ones where I thought, I wasn't a good fit. But for years, I was just, my resume speaks to just how often I said yes. I went from Cross, that Avatar, which is about as hardcore horror as you can get, to at the same time as I was writing Crossed, I was doing Casper the Friendly Ghost. Ghost written for JoJo Siwa graphic novels. So my first decade is very much just like, yes. I love to write. I've always wanted to make this my career. So while I'm here, I'm going to do as much as I can. But now that I've started to publish my own stuff, I definitely had to become more selective with work for hire that I take, and especially bring creator owns elsewhere. These days, I have some partners that I work with sometimes on creator owns, but generally I always think that when it comes to making money and treating the title, the series, as best as it can, no one's going to treat my work better than me, and no one's going to know how to get it into my readers' hands better than me. So I tend to focus the creator-owned stuff, I'll mostly do myself. But freelance, it's just a matter of now if it's fun, like I sustain myself financially on my own stuff. So when it comes to work for hire, I ask myself, one, is it fun? And two, is it going to grow my audience?
So what does that look like in the last 12, 18 months for you? What projects have you taken on where you're like, hey, I really want to do this?
I've worked continuously with Zenoscope. I've worked with them since 2011, and they gave me a lot of inspiration for how I run my business. I still marvel at how they're able to make being a Zenoscope fan into a community. They do these VIP events, which are essentially mini cons for their fans that I go to, and just I've gotten close to them over the years. I always work with them. As far as picking up new stuff, though, I brought Destiny New York to Black Mask a couple of years ago to do as a they're republishing it and essentially licensing the brand to do single issues of my already existing graphic novels. So that wasn't really any extra work for me, and I thought it could help me reach the direct market audience. And Hollywood still really sees the direct market as the pool and less so crowdfunding. So that was why I was able to get my TV deal for Destiny New York is through Black Mask. So I always look like, if a publisher wants to pick up something and license that I've already done, it's no extra work for me really, but it's just a matter of is this going to build on what I've already built or is it going to not? And Black Mask was able to show me that they could build, so that's that. And as far as other work for hire, what I've loved doing recently is I'll write for other Kickstarter creators. I love where the indie comics market is on Kickstarter. I feel like it's a great time to be a comics creator. And a lot of people have gone into this with an idea, but no ability or desire even to do a script themselves. But they have an idea that they love, so they pair with a writer who they I've had Zenoscope fans who've liked my work before become publishers themselves and hire me. I've had people who have read my crowdfunding work hire me for their own stuff. That's one of the funnest things for me right now is working not for publishers, but just for other people doing what I'm doing.
Oh, that's cool. So that's fantastic. Supporting the community basically is I was like continuing to feed back into it. I agree that it's an exciting time for independent publishing and projects that don't fall within the big two, the Marvel DC type stuff, right? Like if you're not a superhero comic book, it's still relatively hard to get into the direct market, which is comic book shops for those who maybe aren't hardcore comic book nerds like myself. So those comic book shops are still catering to a very specific audience. And so if you don't have a project that doesn't fit that very sort of narrow scope, it's tough to do any business in comic shops these days. Whereas Kickstarter, I think, is an entirely different space, right? Like Kickstarter has people, if you're a fan of horror or you're a fan of fantasy or you're a fan of, autobio, like those people, just a reader in general, I think those are the people that are showing up to the Kickstarter platform and sort of looking for interesting things to read and put their money towards. So I love that about the Kickstarter platform, and I love that it really seems to have opened up opportunities. I'm like you. I still like to keep my hand in, I guess working in the more mainstream media where I can. I'm handling, as an example, right now I'm the archivist for all of the Conan the Barbarian. So it's, that's fun, right? Like getting to look through 50 years worth of Conan the Barbarian artwork and comic books that doesn't stink. That is a fun job. Like, looking at incredible artists like Barry Windsor Smith and John Buscema and Ernie Chan and all those guys. It's just such a treat, but I don't have any desire to take the things that I'm doing personally, like Miss Mina and the Midnight Guardians, and trying to shove it into that marketplace where I don't know, maybe it would be well received, but I know for a fact it's going to be well received at Kickstarter just because the audience is there for that, exactly that sort of entertainment and material. So it's good that you're doing that, that you're feeding back into the community. I didn't know that. That's cool, Pat.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I've seen, I've done a bit of it myself. I've on my recent project Dark Veil, I brought other indie writers in with me to do a writer's room, and we kind of treated that as we ran that project like a TV show, and those were all indie creators and friends. So yeah, no,
that's cool.
I love that kind of thing where we're going beyond the idea that projects on Kickstarter are just run, by one person. We could do what the publishers do, but in a way that has, it is more direct. There's no in between the creators and the fans. But we could do it as a collective too. We can build our own community.
Yeah. That's another good point. You mentioned that there's that direct contact, the direct one-on-one with the community. Like, as a creator, as somebody who's making this stuff, like my ability, like if you want a signed copy of the book, just ask for it. Like I can give it to you, right? If you want to contact me directly, we've got a Facebook page where you can go talk to us directly. I love that direct interaction. Just being able to like have fun with the people who might like your material is what a treat. Like, and in the direct market, comic book shops, you're never going to get that. Like, I'm going to sell my book to a publisher. The publisher's then going to sell it to the distributor. The distributor's then going to sell it to the comic book shop. And then there's the end user, the end person, the reader who buys it off the shelf in the comic book shop. I have no way of knowing who that person is or anything about them or what they thought about the book. And that's wildly different with Kickstarter, right? Like in Kickstarter, like if somebody gets my book, and they can go into the comments section of Kickstarter and tell me immediately what they thought about it, which I think is great. I love that.
There's also retailers now too that, if they're a retail store that they know that their buyers like Kickstarter books, that go and peruse for those like retailer tiers that a lot of people offer now. So like there's still ways to get onto those shelves, but with like that, you're kind of making sure you're getting onto a shelf that's actually going to like be a good home,
Yeah. I love that too. So Pat, well, let me ask this before I get completely derailed. You mentioned that you're bringing in a lot of writers into a writer room and stuff. Andrew, thank you, buddy. And I wonder, what is the biggest mistake you see young writers making in the not just in the Kickstarter community, but in comic book making in general?
Sure, I think that people don't really analyze their own flaws. I think that there are things that are easy to blame as far as, I wasn't able to do X because of this other thing. The truth is, it's all you. Like all of my accomplishments and failures are based on choices that I made. I look and some series do better than others. And I think that if we try to look at how other creators are succeeding, I mean, for example, I saw a tweet this week with a creator saying that they should have put boobs on their lead character, and the Kickstarter would have done better. And I went to the Kickstarter, and I think that was the least of their problems. I think that if we take a deeper look at the quality of our work, the way that we communicate with readers, the way that we market ourselves, the stories that we're telling, and also just the market itself, I think that it paints a more full and fair picture. I always assess myself, ask myself what I'm doing wrong, what I could do better, what I'm doing well that I shouldn't change. And I don't know. I just think that a thing that you should have, that the creators should have learned as soon as they had their first or second project, is that the direct market comic shops is a completely different arena than Kickstarter. Things that work in the comic shops don't work as well on Kickstarter because they're in the comic shops. You can drive there and get the comic right now that you want at the comic shop. Genres that don't do as well, don't have as much shelf space in the comic shop, do better on Kickstarter. For example, the idea of, put boobs on it and it does well. No. However, erotica that's well written is well represented in the book market, not in the direct market for comics. It does well on Kickstarter because that is a major genre. But you have to go in with wanting to do and knowing how to do a book like that. You can't just take what works from a marketing aspect and pop it onto your existing idea. Superhero books, very hard sell on Kickstarter because there are so many in the direct market. I found out personally, I launched 2 Mafia themed books this year, and both did less than I would have hoped. Still well, but less than I would have hoped. And that is because, crime books have had great success in the direct market and the book market. So there's no real, not that there's no opening for it in Kickstarter. You should do whatever you want. But now I know going in, when I formulate these ideas, that is a genre that's going to struggle in Kickstarter. So it's really a balance, those books that do poorly on Kickstarter, I'd say maybe that creator actually should go to a direct market publisher. So yeah, I think that analyzing the market, your place in the market, and how you're presenting your story as a creator is the biggest weakness I see among creators, because we should all just get a couple more mirrors and look long and hard.
Yeah, amen to that. My approach to that was, I had a really interesting conversation with a gentleman about a month ago, because I still do consulting on the side for some people in the comic book community, and I was having a conversation consulting with this gentleman, and he was talking about all these different ways that he was marketing this thing that he was going to do. And I said, hey, hold on, wait a minute. And he was very, he was just caught up in all these different things that he was going to, like all this different media and how he's going to market here and how he's creating his social media account and, and all these different platforms. And I was like, hold on a second. What is the story? What is the story that you're going to tell? And it shocked him. And then I said, have you written any of the story that you want to tell? And the answer was essentially no. And so I said, well, maybe that's where you need to start, right? Like, there's also the version of throw all the analysis and the social media and the marketing, all that away, and just sit down and write, right? Because that's really like the thing that ultimately takes care of itself in some of this stuff is doing the work. Because there's no way to get better at writing except to just write. And I know you know this, Pat, because you've been doing it for so long, and I know you, and you're not afraid of it. So that was that's my addendum to that. Is I agree 100% that you have to be looking at those different things and sort of considering your audience. But at the end of the day, you also have to actually do the work, and I think that's where the rubber hits the road where people do or don't succeed.
Very true.
How do you find artists once you've got your pitch together, you've got your script in hand, or maybe not? Like, what do you do to find somebody to work with, a collaborator?
Great question. I mean, the easiest answer is that social media has really opened up things. Instagram, it makes things easier now. But one of my favorite things, though, is just as you would look in a comic shop and just look through the credits, like, oh, I like the art on this project. Who drew this? Let me hit them up. You can do the same thing on Kickstarter, on Webtoon. There are so many artists who are working right now, for example, with me, that I found on Kickstarter. Manos Lagovardos, who's one of my main collaborators, he's doing 2 books for me right now, does covers for me. Found him on Kickstarter. We have Nabetsi Zitro, who's doing an ongoing series for me. Found him on Kickstarter. There's Yishan Lee, who is drawing Private Dance ongoing. The reason that we reached out to her was because I saw a company on Facebook. They posted a preview of a scene from a book that she drew that was at a strip club while we were looking to book this strip club book. And she was able to, with her color palette, capture the lighting of the club in a way that was realistic and evocative, but not overbearing, which was at that point what we were struggling to find, because people, they don't really get how that kind of place is lit. It's both dark and light, neon, and there's different areas, and she captured it all beautifully. And I was able to sort of, by seeing these artists work on social media, on Kickstarter, I was able to remove the need for the most part for test pages, which I used to have artists do when they submitted, because I was seeing just the variety that these artists were showing on social media. So just a brief search, and just also go on Kickstarter and see what's working, see what you like. Don't poach my artists, but see what you like.
Yeah, don't mine either. Stay away from the John brothers. Stay away from Rolo. Okay, yeah, that's good advice. I actually haven't. I guess I have found a few cover artists just by looking at other people's campaigns. And oh wow, I love that piece.
Oh, yeah.
So I noticed, Pat, that you've been doing a lot of conventions this year. I don't know if it's more than usual, but it seems like you've been doing quite a few. And I'm wondering what's behind that, and what effect, if any, that has on your Kickstarter campaigns.
Yeah, so definitely more than usual. I'd also add more than I should. I'm gonna I'm gonna dramatically pull back next year. I wanted to do some traveling, and also I have a team with me that can sometimes do these cons with me, and my hope was that they could do some without me, and that happened a bit less than I wanted, because a lot of them have full-time day jobs, so conventions that start on a Friday, or necessitates that they travel on a Friday, that makes it kind of hard for them to get out there. But we're working on that, solving some things here and there. But yeah, I just like I was saying with the comic stuff in the past, I said yes a few too many times to both myself, my teams, and also these conventions. But it was fun. It was a lot. I'm off now until the first week of October. But there was a while there from June until last weekend. I had a con pretty much every weekend. There were some weekends I had two cons. I was supposed to do Anime NYC Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but leave my team there Saturday, skirt down to Philly to do Zenoscope VIP Philly, and then come back to finish it Sunday. Unfortunately, got sick, so the team held it down. But yeah, a bit too many cons, because it can definitely impact the productivity on the other stuff. So that I can't have. I definitely want to focus more on the actual writing. That's why I got into this. As much as it's great to, have your writing in physical form, put it in hands, meet people, beautiful, great. But I have to make the books. If I keep going to all these conventions, there's going to be a gap in our publishing schedule, which we can't have.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a tough one for you, Pat. What is the best place to start the Pat Shand reading library? If somebody just stumbling on us for the first time, we're like, where do I start with the Pat Shand book? Where do you start them?
I think that Destiny New York, Volume 1, great place to start. That is what I've always wanted to do, is do a long, ongoing creator-owned series. I would, grow up reading things like Preacher, Why the Last Man, Ex Machina, and those showed me what comics could do long form. So that's my kind of story that fits in that mold. It's one that you could read for years. We have 6 volumes out right now. Each volume is about 200 pages. We have multiple spin-offs, so it's a very nuanced and deep universe that you get into and enjoy for years to come. For something that is, well, first also I'll pitch it briefly. Destiny New York is what happens in a fantasy story after the big epic battle is complete, right? We have in volume 1, it begins. The lead character is 30 years old, turning 30, and she completed her destiny, her prophecy, when she was just 13. So now she's trying to figure out what life is post-prophecy, post-destiny. How can I bring meaning to my life when everyone around me tells me that the greatest thing I'd ever do, I did when I was a kid. So now I'm 30, trying to figure out who I am, what's next, what's life like. The vibe is sort of like Harry Potter meets The Sopranos. And for something a bit shorter, though, something that's more, one and done, I have a 3-issue series called I Summon Cthulhu to Fund My Kickstarter. That is a horror comedy. It is very accessible. It's the story of a writer, and all the characters are based on actual real-life writers and artists. So it's sort of like This Is the End, the movie for the comics industry. So that is a 3-issue series. A writer sells his souls to dark gods in exchange for success in the comics industry, and he mistakenly causes the apocalypse at Comic-Con. So it's light, it's funny, it's horrific, and there is an emotional core to the story that I think that people will enjoy.
I didn't even know about that one. That sounds fantastic.
Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, that is a nice
Thanks
piece.
so much.
That is a nice piece. All right, cool. All right, so Destiny New York, or I Summon Cthulhu to Fund My Kickstarter.
Right, that's right.
All right, that was good. I'm a fan of the long titles, so that one's working for me. All right, so what's new then?
I love a pitch as the title. That removes the need to do an elevator pitch. I have that one. I have Gangster Ass Barista. I have Smoke Weed, See the Future. That kind of stuff. That makes it easier.
I wrote this somewhere recently, but I was I used to be the editor-in-chief for IDW Publishing, so I thought about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a lot back in the day. Not that I don't now occasionally, but I used to think about it a lot. And the title for that book, when it first came out, that original title came out, that broke every convention. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was such a long title, and it was, on its surface, it seems nonsensical, but it accomplished so many things. That title accomplished so many things, right? It describes perfectly and exactly what that comic book's about. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It tells you it's the pitch in and of itself. Beautiful in that way. Also, it's really long, but because of the length of the title, it really captures your imagination. It really grabs your attention because nothing else was like that. Everything else was like the Avengers, right? Or the Invaders or Justice League, and so now you've got this big, long, unwieldy title that sort of just sticks in your brain. And it was so effective in that way. And that now, 30, 40 years later, however long it's been, when somebody says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it just rolls off your tongue as if it's just the most natural thing ever. You don't even think about the fact that combination of words didn't exist ever before and was completely weird until Murphey. So that was certainly an inspiration to me when I was thinking up the name of Super Kaiju Rock and Roller Derby Fun Time Go. That Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was fresh in my mind in terms of just what is the thing that would grab somebody's attention, also describe it, and also just be a fun insane amount of words mixed together. Word salad. That's Murphy.
Oh wow.
We got the books in. I don't know, there's probably a few people on the podcast or on the live stream. This isn't a podcast that ordered these. So this is the special limited edition cover, Super Kaiju Rock and Roller Derby Fun Time. This is from our first campaign.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to. I don't know that everybody's got to see these, so I want to make sure a few people got to see it. This is the Zhang Brothers for everybody that's listening. This is the Zhang Brothers cover, the Hot Fun in the Summertime cover. You can pick this up on the Miss Mina campaign, and the Zhang Brothers are the interior artists for Miss Mina and the Midnight Guardians. So you've got a Kickstarter going right now, Pat, as well, right? What's the one that, or you've got more than one? What are your campaigns running right now?
This one is Vix the Hunter. It's the third and final issue. It's in my Afterglow world, which is a post-apocalyptic world where radiation has changed the plants, water, animals, and it follows Vix. She is a hunter and a warrior woman whose only friend is her giant, four-eyed, feral, radioactive fox. And we follow her as she and her fox Kit attempt to survive this world as it's rebuilding itself.
That's awesome. I like that one. The art looks fantastic on that.
Thanks.
Jonathan in the chat says, "Can't confirm that title pulled me in for sure." Kirby, bless you, sir. Oh, Zach got his copy. Nice. Oh, and this is the other one?
Yes, so Give Him Hell. This is made in collaboration with Ralph Tedesco. He is the co-founder of Zenoscope. I've been friends with him for over a decade now, and he and I are doing multiple projects together. He's bringing this one to my Cheeky Comics. This we wrote together. It follows a succubus who works for Satan, and her job is that she goes around and she hooks up with mortals and steals their souls. And her only real threat and enemy are the guardian angels of these mortals. She's just living, trying to get her job done, get paid. But she finds out that her boss Satan intends to gather enough power to take over Earth and turn it to hell. But this succubus M, she loves Earth. She loves to hook up with mortals. She loves ice cream, Netflix. She loves to live a pretty human life. So she ends up teaming up with one of these angels to kind of fight back against her boss Satan to stop him from taking over. It's fantasy, action, and comedy.
That one sounds fun. Some of those covers look fantastic too.
Thanks so much.
Oh, you got a Zhang Brother cover in there. Oh, nice. Yeah. I don't even know. Man, those guys are prolific.
Oh yeah, and quick too. They've ever since I met them, generally just a quick, maybe one sentence concept, some reference, and they'll have an idea to you like a day later. It's just incredible.
Yeah, they're total pros. I'm so glad. I'm so thrilled that they've agreed. We've got, thankfully, we were contracted through the first 4 books for Miss Mina. So I'm just super excited and grateful that they're willing to jump onto the project. I know they love it. I know they're loving what we're doing. So I'm just very excited that they're going to be on for at least the first full big arc that we're doing. So
it's great stuff. I remember, I think the bonus short in Roller Derby was the first time I ever saw them do interiors. I didn't even know that they did interiors until I saw your book. And yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah. When I first talked with them, it was just for a cover, and then the cover they delivered was so amazing. I asked them for another cover, even though I didn't know what I was going to do with it.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, can you guys do interiors too? And they said, yeah, we love interiors. So then I scrambled and quickly wrote a couple of short stories for them that I had in the back of my head. I knew what I wanted to do, but didn't know it was going to be them that were going to draw it. But yeah, they're fantastic. So amazing. I'm thrilled to have them on the Miss Mina. And thank you, by the way, for the kind words on Miss Mina. Pat, for the crowd, got an advance copy of book 1 to review, because I forced him to give me a quote. But he thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for letting me read.
Yeah, Murphy, should we do I think we're probably running short on time here. Should we do the giveaway?
Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 people in the comments. We have a surprise for you guys. On the campaign, if you have checked it out, we have this really awesome campaign box that is really hard to see with that. There we go. We have this really awesome campaign box. This is the design of the inner cover spread by the John Brothers. It comes with on the campaign, we're doing a box set where you can come with a couple books, but we also do sell them just on their own as a really awesome collector box for you to hold your books in or take to a convention. There's tons. This will fit all of your comics. And we are going to give away one of these to someone in the comments. Also, by the way, Charlie Stickney actually went and pledged during the video today, so thank you so much. We are
thanks, Charlie.
ready. Let's spin the wheel.
Charlie's the man. Yeah, he is the creator of White Ash. Great book.
Oh, I love White Ash.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Charlie. Yeah. Nice to meet you. Thank you. All right, let's go. And Jonathan Mahler,
nice.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
You are getting a gorgeous collector box by the Zhang Brothers. Make sure that you are a backer on the campaign. I will go make a note on your pledge. If you're not a backer on the campaign, you still have time to go and join. We've got 2 weeks left from today. We've got another cover in store that I didn't know if you wanted to give a preview of that, David. I do have it loaded up. We are going to save it for Friday. All right. So you guys know now, Friday, we've got something coming for you.
Yeah. We should probably hold off. Pat, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. And thanks to everybody that came in and hung out with us and watched the show. Jonathan, I'm glad you got that box. That's awesome. And please tell your friends to pledge. We have knocked down 4 stretch goals already. We're working on our 5th one, and we got some cool ideas for what's coming. So thank you to everyone who's already pledged. And if you haven't, I assure you, you're going to love this thing at least as much as you like Pat Shan's work. If you're already a fan of Pat's, a bold statement. All right. Thanks, everybody. Murphy, anything else?
No, I think we're good. Pat, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And keep an eye out for the next Fun Time stream. Probably coming next week.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.